The quiet diner, nestled in the heart of Midtown, was a picture of calm, with soft chatter and the occasional clink of plates punctuating the hum of the old jukebox. Mia and Renee Carter, two sisters fresh from weeks of grueling physical training, had chosen this spot for its unassuming charm. They were enjoying a rare moment of peace, trading jokes about their sessions on the range and who had the sharper aim. Mia, with her weathered leather jacket and sharp eyes that scanned everything instinctively, carried an air of quiet authority. Renee, more easygoing in her light gray hoodie, had a grin that could disarm anyone, though her steady hands on her coffee mug told a different story to those who knew her well. Their evening was interrupted when the diner door flew open with a jarring bang. The loud crash echoed, silencing conversations and freezing forks midair. 6 men walked in, their heavy boots thudding against the linoleum. Their swagger and raucous laughter filled the once cozy space, making the few patrons shrink in their seats. The leader of the group, a burly man with a buzz cut and a worn leather vest, surveyed the room with a smirk. He stopped when his gaze landed on the sisters, his grin widening into something almost predatory. "Well, what do we have here?" he said, his tone carrying an edge of mockery. "Ladies' night, is it?" The sisters exchanged a quick glance. Renee raised an eyebrow, a hint of a smirk tugging at her lips. Mia gave her a small, almost imperceptible shake of her head, an unspoken message to stay calm. The man strode over, dragging a chair from a nearby table and spinning it around to sit facing them. "Why don't you join us at our table? Could use some company," he said, leaning forward with a cocky grin. Renee kept her tone casual, though there was a steely undertone in her voice. "Thanks, but we're good right here." His grin faltered for a moment before returning, wider and more menacing. "Come on now, don't be rude," he said, gesturing to his friends. One of them, a wiry man with a patchy beard, stepped forward, leaning on the sisters' table. "What are you doing in a place like this?" he asked, his tone dripping with fake charm. "Doesn't seem like you're kind of seen." Mia's fingers traced the edge of her coffee cup as she locked eyes with him. "We're just here to have a quiet evening. Move along." The man leaned closer, his hand hovering just over her shoulder. "I don't think you understand." Before he could finish, Mia moved. Her hand clamped onto his wrist with lightning speed, twisting it sharply. In a single, fluid motion, she drove his arm down, pinning it to the table. The man yelped in pain, his knees buckling as he struggled against her iron grip. The entire diner froze. Conversations died, and even the faint buzz of the jukebox seemed to dim. The leader shot to his feet, his cocky demeanor shifting to something darker. "You've got a lot of nerve," he growled, stepping closer. Renee's expression didn't waver. She leaned back in her chair, her fingers tapping rhythmically on the table. "You might want to rethink this," she said casually, her voice calm but edged with warning. The leader hesitated, but only for a moment. With a roar of frustration, he lunged at Renee. She sidestepped smoothly, letting him stumble forward as she delivered a calculated kick to the back of his leg, sending him crashing to the floor. His friend surged forward, but Mia was already in motion. One swung wildly, his fist cutting through the air where her head had been a second earlier. She ducked and countered with a sharp elbow to his ribs, sending him staggering into a booth. Another man grabbed a chair and swung it over his head, aiming for Renee. She dodged, her movements fluid, and drove her knee into his stomach as he stumbled forward. He hit the ground with a grunt, clutching his midsection. Chaos erupted. Chairs screeched against the floor, shouts and grunts filling the air. But amidst the pandemonium, the sisters moved with practiced precision, their every motion deliberate and efficient. While Renee dealt with the gang leader, Mia had her own challenge. One of the men revealed a knife, the blade catching the light as he tried to appear more threatening than he felt. Big mistake. Mia's gaze sharpened. In an instant, she closed the distance, grabbing his wrist and twisting it sharply until the knife clattered to the floor. With a firm shove, she sent him stumbling into a table. The weapon skidded under the counter, where the waitress crouched with her phone trembling in her hands. The leader, rattled but defiant, shouted, "Don't back down," His shaky voice betrayed his faltering confidence. The crew exchanged uncertain glances, clearly not used to opponents like Mia and Renee. In desperation, the leader hurled a glass bottle at Mia. She caught it midair and placed it on the table with deliberate calm. Her piercing stare locked on him. "You're out of your depth," she said quietly. "Walk away." Her words broke what little resolve his crew had left. They retreated, dragging their injured comrades toward the door. The leader hesitated, his pride keeping him frozen, until the sound of sirens shattered the moment. Two squad cars screeched to a halt, red and blue lights flooding the diner. Officers stormed in, guns drawn. "Hands up! Nobody move!" Mia and Renee exchanged a look, resigned. Slowly, they raised their hands. Though patrons tried to explain, the officers seemed more focused on control than listening. The sisters were cuffed and led outside, while the gang received minimal scrutiny. As the leader passed the sisters on the way to a car, he leaned toward Renee. "This isn't over," he hissed. She clenched her jaw but stayed silent, Mia giving her a slight shake of the head as a reminder to keep cool. At the station, the interrogation was laced with suspicion. "Special Forces, huh?" sneered an officer. "That explains the action hero routine." Mia's reply was calm but firm. "Defending yourself isn't a routine, it's a right." In the next room, Renee was equally composed. "Your training makes you a liability," her interrogator accused. "My training means I stayed in control," Renee shot back. "Funny you're not asking why 6 men attacked us." Meanwhile, Ray Harper twisted the narrative, using edited footage to paint Mia and Renee as aggressors. Headlines followed, and public opinion initially turned against them. But the sisters fought back. With a single call, Mia activated powerful allies. Within hours, unedited footage and eyewitness accounts surfaced, revealing the gang's provocation. Social media exploded, and hashtag Justice for the Carter Sisters trended, forcing local outlets to retract their initial reports. Under mounting pressure, the police dropped all charges. At a press conference, the sisters dismantled the lies. "We defended ourselves because no one else would," Mia said. "This isn't just about us," Renee added. "It's about every woman who's been silenced or ignored." Their fight sparked a national conversation. Days later, Harper and his gang were arrested for assault, hate crimes, and conspiracy. The smug grin he'd worn was replaced by shock as footage of his arrest spread across news networks. On their porch, the sisters sat in silence, watching the sunset. "You think that's the end of it?" Mia asked, her voice light but knowing. Renee's eyes stayed on the horizon. "No, but they'll regret coming back." As the sun dipped below the horizon, Mia and Renee sat in quiet reflection. The battle had tested their strength, but it wasn't just their victory. It was a stand for justice. "Think they'll dare to try again?" Mia asked, a glimmer of resolve in her eyes. Renee's lips curled into a knowing smile. "Let them. We're ready." Together, they knew the fight wasn't over, but neither were they.